Today, Chat Capsules has truly been honored because in this little chat house, we have with us Dr. Nikita Nanwani, ma'am. Now, ever since I came up with the idea of chat capsules, not just the first episode, but just the idea of chat capsules, one constant question that came to me was that please get Nikita ma'am on the show. And just a little brief introduction about her. Ma'am is a practicing radiologist, a mother, wife, daughter, and she is one of the most sought after teachers regarding NEET PG preparation strategies for all the students out there trying to prepare for this really difficult exam testing 19 subjects. Ma'am is like a guarding angel, and ma'am has come up with all these mnemonics that stay with us long after the class has ended. They come to us when we need them the most in the exam, and when we see questions, we see ma'am's face, we see ma'am's mnemonics. She has simplified topics ranging across all 19 subjects, and it's an absolute honor to have with us Dr. Nikita Nanwani ma'am. I am eternally grateful to you for taking out the time and agreeing to do this, for placing little faith in me and coming on this show. We are absolutely honored to have you here with us. How do you feel today?
Thank you so much, Dr. Shubhangi. I would say that it's my honor to be here. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be here and share all the insights, my story with all my dear students and everyone out here. And I feel really blessed to be here. And thank you so much for that, the sweet introduction that makes me a bit feel like swollen up. Thank you so much for that.
Ma'am, so as students, we really love you for the effort that you put in. So before starting the show, I want to take a minute and I really want to thank you for everything that you do. So on behalf of all students, I want to take this opportunity, and from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for what you do. And it's really great how you managed to do all of this.
Thank you so much, Shubhangi. Again, it is all because of you all that you guys place so much faith in me. So I have that added responsibility, like I have to do something for my kid. That is what I exactly do for all of you. How can I help each one of you in the best possible way? So that is what I try to do. And of course, as I said, it comes from the bottom of my heart. And I'm glad to know that it really helps many students.
So, ma'am, today that we have you here with us, usually we go in this manner when we talk about early life and then we build upon. But today, just like the most quote unquote retrospective revision, how that's gaining popularity. So, we would go retrospectively about your life. So, ma'am, how did you get into teaching and how did life bring you here so close to all of us?
All right. So about teaching, if I have to talk, it has always been my passion because I've always been into academics. From my school days, I've been very studious. Not a bookworm though, but yes, very sincere and a studious student. Always like among the top rankers, and I should absolutely thank my mom for that. So
Right.
from my childhood, I have been into how to learn things in an easy way, and I have been very blessed with all the great teachers right from my school days, and even in my coaching. Mathematics used to be my favorite subject, so I had a mathematics teacher during my the school days where I used to go for coaching. If I would like to thank him, I would take this opportunity to thank him here, and that is Bhayani sir, the very famous Bhayani sir in my hometown Amravati. And then in my MBBS days, I had some great teachers. So everything accumulated, it helped me learn a lot of tricks to memorize so many difficult things. And I thought that I should help every student learn that. Something which we think is very difficult, actually, it's not very difficult. So that is what my whole motto was, to simplify the learning, to make those boring studies not really boring and to make them a bit fun. So it was always on my mind that I want to go into teaching and share with everyone how I memorized everything. And you won't believe that my teaching started, it has been 9 long years, which does not seem like that. But it dates back to 2012 when I was in my internship, MBBS internship. So I started teaching a group of just juniors. As I said, I always had that TIDA, so just wanted to help them. I used to put on my Facebook group, and that is how the coaching institutes recognized. And I got associated with many of them, started traveling. all over India. And then one by one, it just started growing.
Right.
And then I started my YouTube channel, and then now I'm as an educator at an academy. So it has been an unstoppable journey, but there are still many, many more miles to go there.
So, ma'am, now that you've taken all these steps and traveled this way, what do you think is the formula of success?
So, see, personally, what I feel is success is a very, very subjective term. For someone, it would be like gaining so much in my bank account, the balance. For someone else, it would be different. So, for me personally, success is something that when I gain satisfaction out of my work, when I make an impact in the lives of others, basically where I know that for me being here on the earth is making a difference to the people around. So I'm not just like any other existence here, any other being here on the earth, but I'm making a difference in the lives of others. So, and we know that the two best professions that can do this is like being a doctor and being a teacher.
Right.
So I think I've been blessed to have both of those opportunities. So success is basically gaining satisfaction out of your work. And as I said, I've always been passionate about teaching. So now that I've found my calling, so when my passion has become my work, success I think automatically comes as a byproduct. Monetary gains come as a byproduct. So that is what it is.
Right. So, ma'am, now that you're into teaching and you've been studying the pattern of examination, I think it's my moral duty to ask you this on behalf of everybody because the pattern has suddenly changed. The NEET PG pattern has changed into these clinical vignettes. So, what is your take on it? How can we better prepare ourselves for these questions that are clinical and, like these clinical vignette kind of questions? Because till a few years back, we had like a lot of one liners, and now the approach has shifted to these really long questions. As a student, what I feel was the biggest problem for us that there's a lot of uncertainty regarding the answers. So even when the NEET PG exam happened and the answer key came out, so there was a lot of debate about what the correct answer was, even amongst the experts, right? Because I feel like the clinical approach may differ, and it may be slightly different according to you and me. If somebody else is looking at it, so as a student, how can we approach these questions? Because say for example, there's a question key: what is the single most important risk factor for dementia? Now, the options include increasing age, family history, alcohol, XYZ thing. Now, when we are studying about dementia, we may know that age plays a important role, or say family history plays an important role. But when we are sitting in the examination hall now, how do we like oh, was it age? Was it family history? Was it age? Was it family history? And whatever we may tick, it's a lot of luck involved in it. So, how do we deal with this uncertainty about the answers? Because I asked some of my friends who've done really well in the exam, and they said, even the toppers are not sure कि उनका question सही हुआ कि गलत हुआ. So how do we approach these clinical questions? Basically, how do we approach our studies? Like say we are studying a topic, say for example ITP or HSP or any topic for that matter. So how do we approach a topic so that we know it through and through enough to perform well in a question, in a pattern that's so clinical and so patient oriented?
Right. So I think that yes, the pattern of exam has changed in the way that we see more longer questions now. Previously, it used to be one liner. But of course, the medical science has not changed. Like, the disease
Right.
has been the same. Everything has been the same. So if we read in an integrated manner, so as you said, how to read a topic, like let's say when you took example of ITP. So whenever you read any particular topic, I would say like read it as a patient coming to you of that particular disease. So
Right.
imagine, this is what I would personally do is imagine that when I'm reading a topic of ITP, so patient consequences symptoms se aayega. How will the patient present? And in that, like as you said, if the dementia ka question, ki what is the single most important risk factor? So when I'm reading the topic of that dementia, I'll imagine that एक dementia का patient मैंने देखा OPD में, or what is the most important history that I will ask this patient? Let's say it's
Okay.
the family history, which is the single most important risk factor. So I'll tell myself when I'm reading that topic कि dementia का patient आया, सबसे पहले history जो मैं पूछूंगी is family history क्योंकि वो single most important risk factor है. So because when you make stories and when you imagine, you remember better. If you just we do rote memory, just mugging up, of course it is very volatile and it's very very human to forget things. So I would say make stories, make patient out of every topic. integrate whatever topic you are reading. Like ITP, right from the physiology, platelets, why the size would be increased, increased platelet production, and what would be the CBC count like, what is the drug that I would be giving, what are the complications that can occur, what are the complications like in pregnant females, we see ITP commonly. So whenever this ITP word comes in any subject, ask yourself, मैंने ITP और कहाँ कौन से subject में पढ़ा and what did I learn there, and basically read that it's like a one patient. It is not
Right.
19 subjects that we have to read. It is
Mm.
one human body, one patient that we have to read. So I think if we approach in that way, फिर then we are not worried कि pattern change हो गया या कुछ हो गया, जो भी हो गया, the medical science remains the same, everything remains the
Right.
same. So I would say work on the concepts. Okay, work on the like I'll always say, like there's been a series called C3 with MC, that is the
Right.
concepts and cheat codes with Nikita
Mm.
Nanwani Nathani, right? So
Right.
concepts, very very important. Without that, it's impossible to crack any exam, not only medical exam or any damn exam.
Right.
Cheat codes, because as you said, the fact based thing. So when you make it more interesting, mnemonics is where it comes into play. So I always say that there are only two things that are needed to crack any exam in the world. One is concepts and one is mnemonics to remember the facts. That is what sums it up all.
Right, right. Ma'am, thank you so much for explaining it so clearly, because it has been a common problem for a lot of students, and we are so glad that we could get the answer directly from you. With this, I would move on to the early life, and we would want to know what shaped you into who you are. So, because you're so well versed with how to learn, how to study, were you always the smartest person in the room, or did you grow up into the smartest person in the room? Because you're definitely one of the most smartest people out there teaching all of us.
So that's been very kind of you to say that. But I'd still say that I'm not like, perfection is a myth, I would say. There is always a room for improvement. I'm still working on that. But, if you ask my close ones and all, like the person I've grown into, I was very, very different when I was a child, a kind of very shy person. No one would even believe that I have
Right,
a YouTube channel who has, like, which has 75K subscribers or all of that.
right,
So that has come up with time. And as I said, like if you ask me about my early childhood, the one thing that is always there is the very very sudden demise of my father when I was just 4. He left for heavenly abode. It was a very very sudden thing, and then all the responsibility came on my mom. So we are like two sisters and my mom, and of course with the extended family, both on paternal and maternal side. So my mom is the one, like who has been very very headstrong and heartstrong, and she's the one who has actually molded me into what I have been today. And of course, this was possible even for her because she got that a spiritual connect, that spiritual support which was there, and that is what she has inculcated in us as well. So whatever is happening around us, everybody has his her own ups and downs in life. Everybody goes through it. Even I go through it. But when you have that, that spiritual connect, and you believe that everything happens for a reason and all, I think that is what keeps you sane. So, even today, it has been like so many years, but I am still known. My sister and me are known by being daughters of my father, late Mr. Jaiprakash Nanwani. Like that sort was he was a dynamic personality even at the age of 32. He had make a mark in the society which is still which has like immortal mark is what he has made. So that always motivated me, I want to emulate him, and so that is what it has.
right. So, ma'am, if I may ask you, because you dealt with such a significant event so early in your life, so what are some practices that you adopt to heal yourself, in order to pull yourself back? And because each person we meet is fighting his or her battle, so all of us at some point, we fall down, life hits us, we hit the rock bottom. So now that you've spoken about it, so what can we learn from this? What are some practices that you personally have adopted in order to heal yourself, and in order to deal with the problems that life gives us?
So, something which I personally practice or have been practicing right since my childhood, as I said, listening to something positive. Like in our language, when we call it like going to satsang, right since the childhood
Right.
with my mom. I remember she taking us along when we were like small kids. So that has always been with us since childhood, and it is still there.
Right.
Whenever I have my lows, I'll just open any video, on YouTube, listen to that for 5-10 minutes, and be back. That gets that sanity back. See, as
Right.
I said, like everything is meant for a reason. Whatever is happening in your life is meant for a reason. So I
Right.
think listening to something positive, and each one of us, I think it's very, very important to have that thoda sa introspection rather than that soul consciousness that is there, not just body consciousness. We all know that we are all like the mortal beings, but that soul is
Yeah.
something which is immortal. Then how we work on that goes on from one birth to the next birth. So like we don't want to make mistakes in that every birth, right? So that is the
Right.
learnings that we have learned, and I it is like an unstoppable journey. So I always try to work on that.
Right. Ma'am, it's really insightful to know how people like you deal with difficult days, because a lot of us, most of us have been there and we struggle with it. So it's really good to know that, it's really good to see you deal with such difficult days and come back out of it so much, wiser and stronger. And you coined up this new word about being heart strong and headstrong. So a lot of people may be headstrong, but it's really important how you addressed being heart strong. With this, I would move on to my next question, which is that a lot of us have seen you as this really powerful teacher, really dynamic teacher, but you're also a mother, a wife, a daughter, a sister. So, how do you manage time? Because I remember this one TED talk by Sheryl Sandberg, who's the CEO of Facebook, and she said that as women, at irrespective of what post we are at, we always feel guilty, especially when we have kids, and we're leaving for work. So irrespective of whether you have help, whether you have like a good support and all of it, sometimes you feel guilty that you're not there for your children. Sometimes you feel like you're not there at your work enough. Sometimes, um, all of it said, how do you deal with time management?
So, I would tell a coincidence here, like you mentioned about Sheryl Sandberg. I have recently started reading her book, which is Lean In, which is
Right.
all about, how women are afraid of taking up this leadership position and how
Right.
they should work on that. So that is something which
Right.
I am reading and I can relate to it very, very much. So
Right.
I think yes, it is very very much inculcated in us as a woman ki ghar ki responsibility lena, family members ki responsibility lena. But I think the days have changed, and like now, be it the woman or man, everyone has equal responsibility, right? So
Right.
be it for the woman in the the work responsibility, the financial responsibility, as you may call it, the same is happening on the other side as well. Like having supporting husbands who help you in your household chores as well, looking after the kids and everything. So I would say, first of all, it's very very important, like first you knowing your priorities. Like I know that it is my life, and I know that I don't want to let it go away. I want to make a dent in the universe. So when I know that I have to do it, like I have to means I want to do it, I'm very much into it, automatically that support system also grows. So I have been very,
Right.
very blessed with an awesome family support. Like before my marriage, my mom, my sister. After my marriage, my in-laws, my husband. So having that as well. So as it is said, when you want something, automatically the universe conspires to get it for you. Just that you
Right.
should know that what you want. So
Right.
I don't think it's absolutely anything to be guilty about. If you're working and you're not paying attention to your kids, it's absolutely not like that. So when I'm working, I am at work. When I am with my kid, my little one Kyra, I am with her. I know I'm giving her all the attention. So I think it's as I said, it's the priorities that basically we should know, and automatically the time management comes into this. I know that when my little one sleeps, like even when we are recording this, we know that it
Right.
is midnight and we are doing this. So I know that when
Right.
she sleeps, I'll do my work. So it's not that I'm not paying attention to her. वो सो गई है, and
Right.
then I do my work. So I
Right.
think managing becomes easy when you know your priorities.
With this, I would move to the next question. That because you are this really good, competent radiologist, I am on behalf of a lot of students asking you this: did you choose radiology or did radiology choose you? Because when we start our medical school and somebody asks us, what do you want to do? And we come up with things like, oh, I want to become a cardiothoracic surgeon, a neurosurgeon. Nobody says that I want to sit in a room and study x-rays and, like study CT scans. And no matter how good the branch is, it's probably a lot of us choose it because, like radiology happens for us. And once somebody gets that rank, so people are saying, ki, take radiology because, it's a good work-life balance and everything. So did you choose radiology or did radiology choose you?
So I'll be very, very honest here. It has been like it
Right.
has been most of us that radiology is what chose me because I never had thought of taking up radiology until the results came. So in my first attempt, like when I got rank 10 in my state Maharashtra, and then it came as a pleasant surprise. Of course, I'd worked
Right.
for it. I'd expected rank in top 50, and I'd planned something like yeah, MD medicine karna, as you said, ki being a physician, getting that hum doctor wala feeling. But then you realize, ki, do you really want that busy life? Then I narrowed down to maybe dermatology or ophthalmology. And then when the rank came and everyone, like, the residents in the hospital, everyone around was like, if you are getting radiology, you should not miss taking upon that. Every topper now is taking radiology. So, I mean, I think that's the reason that I also took up radiology. If सब बोल रहे हैं, इतना बोल रहे हैं, so it's like, चलो
Yeah.
मान लेते हैं. And that is when I took radiology. So that is how it happened.
Right. So, ma'am, there's this very famous quote that says, ki if 100 smart people are doing a mistake, you can safely do the same mistake. So, ma'am,
But I would, on that
being,
note, I would still say that this should not mean that the message should not go out like कि आपको
yeah,
radiology मिल रहा है rank पे तो ले लो. If you have
right,
something, your heart somewhere knows कि this is the branch that I love. So
right,
for me personally ऐसा नहीं था कि नहीं मुझे करना है तो यही करना है और मुझे और कोई branch नहीं करना है. So I was open to it. But when you know that no, I want to do medicine only. Like we have seen toppers getting top ranks in
hmm,
I9CT and taking up surgery, that
right,
also comes as a surprise. So, but when you know that this is what I'm meant for, please go for it. And just do not follow the herd mentality, I would say.
right. So, ma'am, this brings me to an interesting question. Do you have any regrets with radiology being in this field for so long?
So, see, I personally love radiology. The best part that I feel about radiology is like it's the only branch, a very sort of mix of clinical and non-clinical both basically branch that gives you that option of working from home, which is not there with any other branch, like be it a
Hmm.
medicine person, a surgeon, an anesthesia, whoever it might be, you have to be on the field. But radiology, man, teleradiology has boomed up so much. You can sit at home, you can very comfortably report the scans and practice as well. So that's the best part about it. And that is what kept me going even during my, maternity leave, like not going to hospital, but working from home. Right now also I do it. But
Right.
that's the best part about it. But one thing which I feel, which I miss sometimes is sometimes it gets monotonous, especially when you are just doing CT reporting, MRI reporting in front of the screen and doing it. थोड़ा सा वो monotonous हो जाता है, like you are not talking to anyone and all. So personally, if you ask me, I personally like ultrasound more because that gives me that interaction with the people. I get to talk. I get to
Yeah.
talk to the patients. I have my staff to whom I talk. So every branch has its own pros and cons. So the
Right.
other thing that I feel is missing is like radiologists, even though they are called like doctor, because they make a diagnosis for a physician, for a surgeon. Like a radiologist will make a diagnosis and then only the treatment part will come into play. So we actually play the most important role in patient management. हम डॉक्टर के लिए तो बहुत we would be significant, but for
Yeah.
a patient would never know. Ask them radiologist किसने आपका सीटी स्कैन रिपोर्ट किया, एमआरआई रिपोर्ट किया, नहीं पता
Yeah.
होगा. So
Right.
that is like you are very much behind the scenes. Like you play a very important role. Like for a movie, actor actress are like हाँ movie चल रहा है, but किसने बनाया, who's the director, producer, बहुत बार पता भी नहीं होता है. So
Right.
that is
Right.
the only thing which is lacking, I think.
Right. Thank you so much for giving us such honest insights into the branch. A lot of students might be listening to you and it might help them take the right call. So, on behalf of all students, I want to thank you again for clarifying so much of mist that was around this branch. Moving on, talking about when you said maternity leave, when you talk about family and support, we have seen a lot of happy reels about you and sir dancing, and they seem really happy, and it's one of the most picture perfect stories that we have seen on screen. So can you like please take us through the journey, and how did this story unfold, how did this love saga unfold?
So that is something which has been a very, 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 very like a beautiful episode in my life, and that's still going on. And if you know, when someone asks me whether yours was a love marriage or an arranged marriage, so I always say that our engagement was an arranged one, but the
Right,
marriage happened like a love marriage. So basically, it was an arranged affair.
right,
But then we had like a 1.5 year long courtship. So we got engaged
right,
when I was in my final year of residency, like December 2014. And then our marriage happened in February 2016. So like it's
right,
almost like 6 years now. But then when, what struck between us was our thinking is very, very similar. Like both of
right,
us, the thing like which came as like the bingo moment that we had was both of us believed in the secret. I
right,
always talk, you must have heard of me talking about it in my classes. I always tell
right.
everyone to read that book, The Secret, so that
Yeah,
the law of attraction, visualization. So it came as a pleasant surprise. He also followed that, and I also follow it. He's also spiritual, and I said I also have that spiritual connect. You will not find many people like that in today's world, especially in our
right,
generation. I don't know how many of us. So that really struck between us. So I would honestly say that, like, yes, I've been blessed to have really been finding my soulmate in my better half, that is Dr. Hitesh Nathani. And I would really like to give everybody this advice that especially when it comes to medicos, हम हमेशा ये सोचते हैं कि ब्रांच देखना है कि कौन सी ब्रांच है and all.
right,
That really really does not matter. I would say, like, you're not marrying the branch, you are marrying that person. What if the
right,
branch is like very very good, like earning handsome and all, everything is there, but you're not able to develop a connect with that person with whom you are planning to spend your entire life? That makes
right,
really really no sense. When you have that connect, when you have that support, everything automatically falls in place. I think that is of the utmost importance when someone is
right,
looking for a life partner. So he
right,
has been a super amazing support, in my entire journey,
right.
and I'm really blessed for that.
Ma'am, there's this very popular saying, behind every successful woman, there's a very understanding man. I think your story just brings out that message loud and clear. Moving on to the last segment, I would want to first of all take us and our audience back to this part wherein you were a student, you were a child, as so many of us are right now. So we all look up to people, we emulate people. So who was the person that you emulated? Who shaped you into the person that you are today?
No, so as I've mentioned in the early part also, like one person who has made a significant impact on my life is my mom, and yes, my
Right.
sister, like Ankita. As a female, when you see other females, especially in your family, who are like so so strong, and like my
Right.
sister also, Ankita, she's a senior manager at Expedia, like she's a software engineer, and how beautifully she
Right.
manages. She's my go-to person whenever I feel low and all, and she peps me back up. So my mom and my sister, I always try to emulate them. They have been a, they have played a very, very significant role in my life.
Right. That's so sweet. Moving on to the most difficult question that we all of us are trying to find the right answer for. When so I personally believe that there's no such thing as a failure, because it's just life's way of steering us into another direction, in a better direction. It's God's way of trying to look out for us. But that being said, when life becomes really difficult and when we hit the rock bottom, so it's very difficult to accumulate yourself, pull yourself back, condense yourself into a person who is worthy of running the race again. So how should students clean their perspectives, because this year has been so difficult for doctors? Right now there's a lot of protest going on for there's a lot of protest going on by the first year residents ki, like they're overworked, they're doing like duties 48 hours, 72-hour duties. And on the other hand, there's so many doctors who are sitting at home frustrated. There's so many doctors who did not do as well in the exam, they're sitting at home frustrated. So when life knocks us down, how do we clean our perspective and bring ourselves back to being able to fight again?
So see, I truly empathize with your batch, particularly, who's faced so many uncertainties, exam being postponed not just once and twice,
Right,
exam being postponed when you've got your admit cards also, and then the
right,
exam postponing is something that is absolutely unheard of. So if
right,
even I would have been in your place, I mean, it's easier said than done कि नहीं नहीं सब ठीक है, सब हो जाएगा. But when you are there, you really realize, it's not as easy as we say. It is difficult, but at the same time, remember that it's not impossible. Whatever it
right,
is, whatever happened, has happened for everyone. It is not just you or me. Everybody has been in the same boat. We are sailing in the same boat. And your batch, I would say, like has been shaped into like those strongest people on the earth who are ready to take up any challenge then that they would face in the upcoming future. Like nobody
right,
has been blessed to have these uncertainties so far and to be molded into strong persons right at that early age. So I think
right.
feel blessed. I think basically see positive in whatever happens. Like even the counseling being delayed now. I mean, you guys are blessed that you have that opportunity, you have that time window. Like if you have confusion कि मुझे radiology लेना है कि नहीं लेना है, you have that time window to just go to that any radiology center or in your hospital, just
Right.
spend time with the radiologist and see whether you can actually do it for lifetime. Or if there are like 10 branches like this where you are confused, you can actually spend few days in every branch and see ki,
Yeah.
where do I find my heart is lying. So you have that time. So make the best of it. We did not have that much. ठीक है हमको बस जल्दी जल्दी डिसीजन लेना है तो हाँ रैंक आया रेडियोलॉजी ले लो दैट इज व्हाट इट वाज so since you have time I would say make the best of it and remember that whatever happens in life of course as I said is for a reason. We might not understand it now, but as it is said that you can only connect the dots when you look backward but not forward.
Yeah.
So everything happens for a reason. Always have
Right.
that faith. Your let me say like your parents, will they ever do something which is not good for you? Same as like
Right.
you have that God who's like your parent, and remember that कुछ अच्छे के लिए ही हो रहा है जो अच्छे के लिए ही हो रहा है. So have that faith
Right.
basically.
Right. Thank you so much, ma'am, for answering that question. This is also a very redundant question, but it's important for me to ask you this. Do you think you have any regrets coming to this profession and becoming a doctor? Because the path is really long, it's difficult, it's painful. Would you do it again? Or do you have any regrets about being and choosing this profession?
So see, if I'm a doctor, you asking me this question, ask this question to engineer, ask this question to CA, or ask this question to any profession that they are in. So as I
Right.
said, every profession has its own pros and cons. There is
Right.
no profession which is like, easy. There are no struggles, there are no difficulties. Every path
Right.
has its own difficulties. But being a doctor is like a very, very noble profession because we save lives. Nobody else can do that. I mean, that is something that nobody else can do. So that is very important. But at the same time, as you said, yes, it's a very, very long path. You won't believe that just 1 hour back, I was talking to my
Yeah.
friends, and we were just saying that बड़ा लंबा journey है, बहुत time लगता है. There are a lot of struggles. But then once
Right.
you reach that stage, I mean, nobody else can reach that stage. So I would not say anybody should take a decision of becoming a doctor क्योंकि आपको आपके पेरेंट्स ने बोल दिया कि नहीं नहीं आपको डॉक्टर ही बनना है या हम डॉक्टर हैं इसीलिए आप डॉक्टर बनो. Rather, we are seeing the opposite also now. Like majority of the doctors now tell their kids you don't go into the medical field. I have seen it
Yeah.
myself in my close family. They'll either go
Yeah.
into IITs or engineering because they've seen the struggle. And
Yeah.
even the times have changed, unfortunately. Like previously, ऐसे होता था कि doctor भगवान है, patient used to see doctors like that. But now that we are seeing so many like incidents of assault on the doctors and all, so that
Yeah.
has changed. So maybe I think that is what also is changing the mentality of the students taking up medicine as a branch. So I would personally say that yes, everything has its own pros and cons. Again, I
Right.
mean, see where your heart lies and just follow that. Do not, it is your life. Take charge of it and do whatever
Right.
your heart says.
Right. Thank you so much, ma'am, for answering all our questions and all our queries. On behalf of all students, I want to take this opportunity and I want to thank you for doing everything that you do out on this side of the computer. We have built a really strong connect with you. So many of us, early in the morning, we see your episodes, we see your mnemonics and your videos, and it brightens up our day. It helps us get back to the schedule, get back to studying. So you've also started giving out not just information but a lot of positive energy that kept us going. So when you talk about how our batch has been particularly blessed with such a long journey, such a long gestation period. So all of us have also been blessed with so much of time wherein we could spend learning from you and connecting and being able to imbibe so much of energy that you send out in your videos. So on behalf of all students, I want to take this opportunity and I want to thank you for everything that you do, and I hope that you continue to do this. This chat has been an absolute honor to me, and thank you so much for taking out your time. And it's 12 o'clock. It's 12:42 in the night, and I can't imagine how you do it. So thank you so much for taking out time, agreeing to come on this little chat show, little chat house, and enlightening so many of our viewers with so many entertaining, interesting, and motivating stories. Thank you so much, ma'am, for everything that you do and who you are.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shubhangi. It's been an absolute pleasure and honor for me, I should say that. And let me wish you all the very best for your journey that you have embarked upon, Chat Capsules. I think it's very, very informative. It is insightful, and I'm sure many students can relate to, all the episodes. And I do see a very, very bright future for you. Let me tell you that right from the bottom of my heart, because I can see that you are a very, very pure soul there, doing this just out of goodwill and make a difference, as I say, impact in everyone's life. So keep doing the good work, and all the very best for all your future endeavors and your life ahead.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's an absolute honor to be able to share this screen with you. I can't put it into words, but I hold in my heart a lot of gratitude for being able to have a conversation with someone as experienced and enlightened as you are. And I think this has made my life. And I'm always going to remember this conversation for years to come. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
Thank you again, Shivangi, and everyone out there, all the viewers there. Thank you for all the faith and love that you have been blessing me with, and please keep showering. That means the world to me. Thank you so much.